up, my YouTube friends? Got the Project Cabin Funmobile up on the hoist here. This has been a project that Trent and I have been working on and off for a couple years now. I don't show a lot of videos of what we do to it. I don't know why, but I just don't. But I wanted to go over the lift kit that we just put in it and why we're doing an actual lift instead of a spacer lift. And I'm in a couple of Jeep groups on Facebook and stuff, and everybody in there will tell you, don't run a spacer lift. I ran one. They're cheap, fairly easy to put in, and if you're gonna put one in, I'm gonna tell you a couple things that will help you to put it in, but I did not like the way it rode, and all the negativity about the spacer lifts are almost all 100% correct. They clunk. They don't handle very well. If you go off-road, it sounds like you're constantly bottoming out by hitting just the smallest little pothole. Yeah, we tried it for a couple years. Didn't like it. So I found a lift kit go up for sale on Marketplace, very reasonably priced. It was all brand new. And I'm like, all right, I'm trying it. I bought it. And we finally put it in. I've actually had it sitting here for 6 months, and we finally just put it in. But so I just want to talk about it. So it's a 3-inch lift kit of what I did. I was running a 3-inch spacer lift, but I'm going to explain the lift kit, and then I'm going to explain the spacer lift on how the spacer lift works versus how the lift kit actually works. So I am running an OME lift kit. The spring, the strut, everything's OME. I also, even when I was running the spacer lift, I got these OME upper A-arms also. They're greasable. They got better knuckles in them. Stumbled on that one. But they got better ball joints and stuff in them than the factory ones. The factory ones are well known for failing on the ball joints, on the upper or the lower. So I even replaced the lower ball joints 2 years ago when I did the spacer lift. I did new ball joints on the bottom. I did new rod ends on the steering and stuff. I replaced all that stuff 2 years ago. The only thing we did different now is actually putting the lift kit in. So I'll show you the part number that was on the spring. So this is the spring strut that we put in the front. And then this is the spring that we actually put in the rear. And the guy that sold me this stuff actually said this is from a TJ, and it's a factory coil spring for a TJ that gives you a 3-inch lift in the rear then it was just a bolt-in deal. We bolted them in, and it was a bolt-in deal. But let me finish up here on the front. So I'm bolted right up to the bottom of the body up here. No spacers, no nothing. This is a heavier coil than the factory coil. These Liberties, they sprung them so soft to try and get more of a car ride out of them. And then within a year, the front ends on them would start to sag down. And that's what all these Liberties have out there, is this nosedive effect, because the front springs were too soft in them, so they would sag over time. I even put brand new struts in mine last year, thinking that would help with the sagging of it. So I put brand new struts in it. I put my spacer lift back in, and within 6 months, I could already see the front of the Jeep sagging down again. It was amazing within 6 months. So we got that in there. I put the 2-inch EMT nuts on here. That's a way to gain another 1/2 of an inch out of this lift. Excuse me. So I put that in between the strut shackle and the bottom of the strut. I just put those 2 nuts in there, and that'll give you a 1/2 inch of lift there, along with this 3-inch that this is supposed to be giving you. So that's basically, and when you put this lift in, this whole setup right here literally falls right into place versus the spacer lift. And I'm going to go over the spacer lift in a minute. Let me just cover the rear quick on this complete lift that I did. In the rear, like I said, I'm running a stock TJ coil spring in the rear. And it was a little bit of a son of a gun to get in here. We had to undo the wishbone in the rear. Or not wishbone, I think they call that, yeah, it's a wishbone, yeah. So anyways, that was a son of a gun. Had to take that stuff all apart, and not only did we put this TJ coil in it, but another recommendation is to put Dodge Durango rear shocks in, because they're longer. And before, when I was running the spacer lift back here, I had a spacer in here with the stock springs. I was still running the stock shock, not thinking that I should have ran longer shocks to give it more travel. You can see now how much this is hanging out of the vehicle when it's up on the hoist. So that definitely helps with your articulation when you're off-road, is by having these longer shocks in there. So a Dodge Durango rear shock with these TJ rear coils in the rear for the lift. And then in the front, I have the OME in the front. So that's that on the actual lift kit, and pretty straightforward to put it in. Not much of an issue at all. So the spacer lift, what that entails is, like, here's a mount for the top of a strut, and I got a strut sitting here too. Spacer lift that you can buy is 1.5 inches. So it's got a plate down here with nuts that bolted on, then they have like a piece of pipe in here with another plate up here that bolts to the bottom of your body. So it spaces your strut down, basically giving you 3 inches of lift by moving it down 1.5 inches. And then by the time you figure in the geometry of your bottom A-arms and this and that, you get 3 inches of lift. But the problem with that is this strut does not sit in here straight up and down. It sits at a little bit of an angle. So when you space it out, it pushes everything out that way. And then when you try to put this bolt back in down here, you got to hook a ratchet strap to the forks and ratchet strap underneath to the other side somewhere to pull all this into place and force this down to get that bolt in. That's the trick to get that back in if you're doing a spacer lift. But with this setup, being it's a heavier coil to give the lift, it bolts right into place. It doesn't change all that geometry. It keeps it like it's supposed to be. I'm going to get it aligned now that I've changed all this out again. I'm going to bring it back into a shop to get it aligned. And then in the rear, the same thing is you put a spacer down here to space your spring up to give you the lift. But like I said, I did it. It looked good. It gave me the lift I was looking for. I could clear bigger tires. But God, it was just so miserable to drive. And you can see I don't have my sway bar hooked up right now either, because this thing gets driven 90% of the time on dirt roads, logging trails, fire maintenance roads, stuff like that. It doesn't really see a lot of highway road use. I mean, it does a little bit. So I'm going to give up, some cornering and stuff like that by not having the sway bar hooked up. But we'll see. I'm going to leave it unhooked. If it gives me too much grief being it's just hanging in here, I'll probably end up taking it out, or maybe I'll hook it back up. We'll see. That's going to be in the future. Now that I put the lift in, I could obviously see that I was going to clear a bigger tire than what I used to have on here. So now I have a 30 950 15 on here. Brand new. Here's the old tires I used to have on there. These were just over an inch shorter. I believe they were a 245. Nope, sorry, they were a 235. 75 15, which measured at about just under 28 inches, or just over 28, about 28.5 inches. These brand new ones measure right at a 30-inch height, and I got about 25 pounds of air in them. So I think I'll run them like that. I run them a little bit softer just to give a little bit better ride, because like I said, most of the time we are running it off-road. So I'm going to stick the 2 tires back on. We'll lower it down so we can see how it sits on the ground. We'll back it out of the shop here. I love the way it sits. It sits nice. So this thing sits parked for sometimes weeks, absolute weeks on end. So I did add a battery disconnect to this thing. If it sat for a couple weeks not being used, it seemed like it would drain the battery down all the time. So I put a battery disconnect in, and hopefully we have a charged battery right now, because this thing has not honestly been started in probably a month. So yeah, go ahead and fire it up, hopefully, Trenton. Well, I definitely love the stance of it. Trent, why don't you grab a tape measure? Let's pull a measurement on the wheel wells once. All right, so with the 30 950 15s and the 3-inch lift, that is where we're at to the bottom of our wheel well, 34.5 inches. So if you want to compare it with yours, that's on the front. Let's check the rear once. So if you want to compare it with your stock Liberty, so we're at 36 in the rear. So like I said, if you want to compare it with your stock Liberty of what you have going on right now and then what you'll end up with a lift in it, there's your measurements right to the bottom of the wheel well. So I hope this video helps explain a little bit in the different lifts on these. I am probably going to maybe end up switching out to a synthetic rope up here, and I'll take a little bit of weight off the front. Right now I have a steel cable on there, and it is a little bit heavier, quite a bit heavier than a synthetic rope. So hopefully maybe switching that out, it'll take a little weight off the front. But that's our 2003 Jeep Liberty with a 3-inch lift kit in it now. So yeah, I'll report another video of how it handles after I get to actually go out and drive it a little bit. But thanks for watching, everyone.